guys, welcome back. So to start off the look, I'm using the Pixi Glow Mist. And then moisturizing my face with the Hydra Genius from L'Oreal. This is my favorite combination to use when I want extra glowy skin. A little spray of the primer water from Smashbox and the Master Prime Illuminate and Blur Primer from Maybelline. I love that this blurs my pores and gives a nice dewy glow to the skin. For color corrector, I'm using this concealer from Makeup Forever. I almost say Maybelline. And I love it because it's super thin, but it gives great coverage, so that way I have to use less product later on. For foundation, I tested out the MAC Studio Sculpt foundation because I thought it would be perfect for a glowy look, and it really was. The only thing was that I did use the Tarte foundation brush, which I think was just a little too heavy in combination with the foundation. So instead, I decided to use the Beauty Blender, and that just made the difference. It helped to blend it out so much more smoothly, and it really gave a nice glow as well. To conceal, I'm using my favorite Shape Tape concealer from Tarte. And as you can see, I'm just placing it in the areas where I normally place my concealer. Again, using the Beauty Blender to smooth everything out and blend it all in place. To set everything in place, I decided to use the L'Oreal Beauty Sponge along with the Kat Von D setting powder. Now this setting powder is really nice and finely milled, so I thought it'd be perfect. And it wasn't super matte. Had I been looking for more of a matte finish, I would have opted to use the Laura Mercier setting powder instead. Now to cream contour, I was testing out the NARS concealer on top of this foundation, and I've noticed that it works better on other foundations than this one because this one is just slightly tacky, but I think had I done this before I baked, it would have been a lot more like smooth and seamless. So that's just a quick little tip if we try the combination out. And just blend it all out with the Beauty Blender. To set the powder in place, or set the liquid in place, I'm using the Urban Decay foundation powder, and I'm patting it into the skin, and I'm also getting rid of any excess setting powder that I had as well. To prime my lips, I'm using the lip injections from Too Faced, just to add some hydration to the lips along with that plump effect that we all love. Now for the star of the show, I had to use the Becca and Chrissy Teigen palette, which I was so obsessed with. The bronzer was gorgeous, it was super sun-kissed, and it managed to show up on my tan skin, which sometimes I find that the palettes or the bronzers that are inside of palettes don't always show up, and this one was definitely an exception. Next for blush, I'm using the blush shade, of course, from the palette, which was a beautiful like peachy pink, and it was just stunning. It already gave a nice glow to the skin, so once I used the highlight on top, it was just beaming. I was incredibly impressed, as you can see just by my reaction. I love that the Becca powders are very buttery and they glide onto the skin without looking too shimmery or too like fake. So definitely one of my favorite formulas to use. And I'm just applying it almost everywhere. And a little bit more on the cupid bow and the nose and all that good stuff. I've already put my brows on, and I used the Kabrow and the Anastasia brow powder. For eyeshadow, I decided to use the Natural Love palette from Too Faced, along with the Layin Low eyeshadow primer from MAC. This is a perfect primer because it gives me a nice base so that the colors that I put on top show up more vibrant. To start it off, I'm using the shade Heaven from the palette, and I'm placing that from the brow bone down to the lid, and I'm really just packing it on. This will ensure that the rest of the shades that I add will blend out seamlessly. Then using Lace Teddy and a Bedulium, I don't know how to pronounce it, but this brush, it's a fluffy, blending brush. We're using Lace Teddy just to put it into the crease to add some warmth, and then Honey Butter, which is slightly darker, just on the outer half. I'm using this more to give the eyeshadow dimension because I don't want anything too dramatic. I want it to be more about the skin and the lips than for the eyes. Then I'm using Makeup and Chill to add a little bit more definition on the outer corner just to make the eyes appear brighter. And you'll notice that I'm also just using the same brush because I find that they blend nicer. And here I'm mixing Honey Butter and Makeup and Chill just to blend it out even more. To add that extra pop of shine, I'm using Fairy Tale, and I decided to use my finger because notoriously when it comes to shimmer shadows, they just apply better when you use your finger. And this shade was so gorgeous. I was not expecting it at all. It has a nice mix of just like chunky glitter and non-chunky glitter. It was awesome. Then I'm using the shade Lovely from Colourpop, and I'm placing that on top. To be completely honest, I should have placed this color first because it is a cream shadow and then the powder, but you live and you learn. And now I'm just going back in with Honey Butter and Makeup and Chill just to blend out any harsh edges. I was so in love with this look. It's like the perfect everyday, I want to be effortless kind of look, but not really. And here I'm just applying my wing liner. Now I decided to do something different than from what I normally do. I normally start in the center of the lid and then apply the wings after. But here I decided to start off with the wingtips and then bring it in. And I'm only bringing it halfway to make the eyes appear larger. Because I do have smaller eyes and I really wanted to showcase that lid color. So here, instead of just making it thick all the way in, I just made it thin on the very inner corners. I applied some mascara to coat them before the lashes. And going back in with Honey Butter and Makeup and Chill just to blend everything out even more. Ta-da! I've already used my favorite lashes, which are the Lion-Hearted from the Kim Tai Cake Face Beauty collection. And I'm using Hot and Bothered on the lower lash line just to add a little bit of a copper finish. Apply some lower lash mascara, or a lot, just to complete the eyes, and go back and use your favorite contour powder just to chisel out the face a little bit more. I felt like it needed just a little bit more definition because the bronzer was nice and like sun-kissed, but not enough to give you definition. So here I'm using the Kat Von D contour palette. And add as much or as little as you'd like. To clean up that harsh area that I had before, I'm just using that peach shade in the palette just to clean up, and I'm also going to place that right under the eye to brighten up as well. I find that when you use the powders, it shows up a lot more natural once you use some setting spray. And I'm going back in with that Nectar Beach highlight from the palette just to highlight the inner corners as well as the brow bone just a little bit more. I was so obsessed with this. I could have like just applied it anywhere, so I did. And there we go. For lip liner, I'm trying out the Kat Von D OG lip liner, which glided on so smoothly and it was super opaque. I'd only purchased 2 of them, but you know I'm gonna have to purchase like more because this might be my new go-to lip liner. Way better than the MAC ones in every sense of the way. And then for the lip color, I was trying out Karina from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I know I never used any color, so I decided to do this because it was very appropriate for spring, and I have to say I was really happy with the outcome. I think in combination with the neutral look, and my nails of course, it really made a huge difference. And there you go, that is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed. For any other recommendations or suggestions, please leave them down in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you guys. And yeah, have a great day. Bye.